I got a call from an investor. They were going to get involved and invest a huge amount, of course, and it turns out they were fraudsters. Hi everybody, Derek here from Crua. So after my rant the last day, we're more back on track this week. I want to talk a little bit more about crowdfunding community, how that's intrinsic in our everything we do, the warts and all kind of ups and downs, ins and outs, and a couple of our experiences that might be of interest to you, like meeting a fraudster in Amsterdam. I'm going to get into a little bit of that today. Again, just to give you some insight in what's involved, how time consuming it can be, how rewarding it can be, but how frustrating it certainly can be as well. First of all, you may or may not know Crua is really built from crowdfunding, built from the community, really from our foundations up. And there's pros and cons, how our interactions with venture capital were a little bit eye-opening, to say the least. So we quickly realized that that's not really for us. We're much more community-based, we're much more the crowd-based, let's call it, and we've kind of grown from there. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been planning into the structuring of the crowdfunding campaign. You almost have to go through it to understand it, what actually goes on a platform, be that a rewards platform or be that an equity crowdfunding platform. Either way, there's a huge amount of work goes into the building of a crowdfunding campaign. What you see on the line or on platform really is just the end of months and months, or if not years and years of prep. If you're in equity crowdfunding world, you're obviously developing business plans, you're starting conversations, you're talking with platforms, finding the right platform. In the past, we've kind of dealt, mostly with Kickstarter for products, Seeders for equity crowdfunding. There are other options, but they're the ones that work for us. So there's a huge amount of to and fro due diligence with the platform, anything that goes on those platforms, especially in the equity crowdfunding. That's just before you get up and running at all. Then you have to look at audiences, building out the audiences in particular. I think the importance is enormous. Whether that campaign is going to be successful or not is dictated before you push the go live button, because you have to make sure that there is interest in whatever you're offering, be that an equity campaign or a product. You have to make sure that you're authentic, obviously, so it can't be in an overproduced or an over-polished way, but you don't want to look like an amateur either. And luckily for us at this stage, we have a really good community who help us. They'll quite often help us during campaigns if we're iterating products, or we have some investors through our Seeders campaigns who will help us. We'll run things by them. What do you think? Quite often these people will be quite experienced in the business world. And then once you decide you're going to go ahead with a campaign, there's a huge amount of work in structuring a campaign. Just sat down, ideation, going through this work, no, that doesn't work, go again, and it culminates really in what you see. Video is a really important part of a crowdfunding campaign. You shoot that video like we did on Monday, so we were out and then we were indoors for a while and we were editing the video afterwards, and we found out that some of the audio was missing, so now we have to go back and reshoot that, but that's it. Look, you roll with the punches, right? There's a certain amount of that you sign up for when you decide you're going down the route of crowdfunding, community, etc. There is a little bit of rough around the edges at times, but it gets there. And I think that's part of when people back crowdfunding campaigns, I think that's part of what they're backing. They're backing the kind of seeing behind the veil, and we really appreciate that, of course. And like I said, we wouldn't be here without it. So we're huge advocates of crowdfunding, knowing that there is a dark side and a bad side to crowdfunding too. The last crowdfunding campaign we had running last year, I got a call from an investor. They were going to get involved and invest a huge amount, of course, and it turns out they were fraudsters. Got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, went to Amsterdam to meet these people. The minute I sat down with them, I knew, sugar, I've been caught here. This is, and I literally just got up and walked away. But again, that's part of crowdfunding. That's part of what you sign up for. The other thing I want to talk about is the authenticity. I've been but watching a lot of videos online about, Mr. Beast, for instance, is one of these people on YouTube that has an enormous audience, maybe one of the biggest in the world. But my kids introduced me to him, and I started studying a little bit more, I suppose, of how he thought that goes into his videos, because if you look at his initial videos, certainly there's a very much a rough edge to them. It comes across as being really authentic, but I mean, he'll be the first to say, yeah, it comes across as being authentic, but that is not scripted but planned to within an inch of its life. There's a huge amount of prep goes into it, and the more authentic it must feel, sometimes the more prep that has to go into it, believe it or not. It's no problem to sit there and read lines or read script or whatever, but it's when you actually have to be genuine, I guess, and authentic and bring the viewers on that journey with you. They're believable, but you still think that they're able to get this done. So I hope not too rambling. I wanted to get into it a little bit under the bonnet of what's involved in crowdfunding. We're expanding our crowdfunding. For the first time, we're going to be able to open equity crowdfunding to our US audience, which is brilliant. 60% of our audience, of our community, is US based. That just happened organically. It wasn't really planned like that. But right now, as I said, hopefully you found this in some way insightful, and we'll see you all on the next video.